Henry DeVries from Agency Rainmaker TV, the TV show where we help you make it rain, help you get those right fit prospects into your pipeline. And so pleased to have an author and a marketing expert with us today, Marc Robertz-Schwartz. Marc, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Henry. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so great to have you because we're looking forward to this advice. Tell us about your work right now and tell us about the book.
Well, the book is called The Red Apple's Way. It is based on the nine core values, which is an acronym that spells out Red Apples, which was the name of the agency that I founded and sold late 2024 after about 15 years. So created as a one-man bootstrap, built it up, hired people, expanded our services, grew it into something that somebody else saw value in, and purchased it from me. So, looking back at where we were successful and where we fell short, seemed like a great opportunity to write a book.
What about your work now, Marc? What are you doing?
I'm doing some consulting work. Certainly, writing The Red Apple's Way was time consuming in a very positive way, an amazing journey of all the things that I've had a chance to do during the course of my career. Writing a book and partnering with your team at Indie Books International was a journey like I never expected, but it's been really a lot of fun. So now we're shifting into book publicity and speaking and doing some book signings and sales. But I do still do quite a bit of work with not-for-profits. I'm a board member on three different not-for-profits and been doing some consulting work with some former clients.
Sounds like you're living the dream. Let's go to rainmaking because you were an expert at rainmaking, that's for sure. And then also you have the book, which we've talked about, which is another tool. But what's your best advice for agency owners on how to make it rain?
You know, Henry, I don't know if you remember it. Many, many years ago, there was a commercial for United Airlines, and it was a advertising agency, and they're in the big boardroom, and the head of the agency is.
I got a phone call this morning from one of our oldest customers. He fired us. After 20 years, he fired us. Said he didn't know us anymore. I think I know why. We used to do business with a handshake, face to face. Now it's a phone call and a fax. Get back to you later. With another fax, probably. Well, folks, some things gotta change. That's why we're gonna set out for a little face-to-face chat with every customer we have.
But Ben, that's gotta be over 200 cities.
I don't care. Thanks.
If you're the kind of business that still believes personal service deserves a
No,
lot more than
Edward,
lip service,
Watts,
welcome to United.
Larry, Lewis.
That's the way we've been doing business for over 60 years.
Ben, where are you going?
To visit that old friend who fired us this morning.
United. Come fly the friendly skies.
And that commercial has always resonated with me because I think the key to success for an agency is maintaining those personal relationships. We've all heard the story that it's easier to maintain a client relationship than to have to recruit a new one. And I think it's an area that a lot of businesses, not just agencies, but I think a lot of businesses are falling short on the relationship, and we're leaning too much into technology and email and texting. And picking up the phone and having a conversation, going out to lunch, grabbing coffee, swinging by the client just to check in and say hello, I think is an art that is unfortunately dying, and I think it's hurting agencies in the process.
Well, I hear you. Many of our clients are agencies who hire us to write books for their clients. And our biggest client is in Topeka, Kansas. And I was up in Colorado doing a speech and then had to go back to California. And I told the people on my staff, well, I'm going to swing into Kansas City on my way home. They said, oh, in what map is Kansas City on the way from Denver to San Diego? And I said, when your biggest client is in Topeka, that's when it's there. And we
Yeah,
have other clients there. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah, that's that old fashioned, they don't know, uh, or they don't care what you know until they know you care, that cliche,
right,
but, and
right.
showing up and, I tried to buy them a meal, uh, and they just laughed because of how much money they made that year. And they said, "Oh, the meal's on us. You spent
Right,
the money to come see us." So it
right.
is appreciated.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, uh, I think you stand out. I mean, if you look at a client and all the different vendors that they have, I think you stand out when you take sort of that proactive approach. And one of the things I always said to clients when they join the roster of Red Apples Media was, you will sooner tell me to please stop bothering me with all these great opportunities, as opposed to how come I never hear from you anymore. And I wore that as a badge of honor and a badge of success in the process.
I was inviting one to, and they're in another city, but to go to a baseball game or have lunch at a game. And he was busy and couldn't do it. And I said, well, I don't want to be a pest. He says, if this is what being a pest looks like, keep it up. I want more pestering on that.
Exactly.
So it is appreciated
Yeah.
when we're out there. What other tips helped you to build that agency up?
Over delivering. One of the core values that we talk about in the book is taking advantage of the things that you promise and then over delivering on those. I think the bar is low. I think people have lowered their expectations, and the opportunity to over deliver in communication, in quality, in being sort of authentic in how you manage the relationship. I think there's a huge opportunity there as well.
Great. Is there any last thing you'd like to add before we say goodbye for today?
Look, it's a tough time. I think AI is having a significant impact on agencies and all kinds of creative people. And I think one of the biggest differentiators is the human element. And you've got to maintain that human connection with your clients, both existing ones as well as the ones that you're trying to bring into the fold. I used to say to my team all the time, our clients all think that they are the most important, and it doesn't matter whether they're a $5,000 client or a $50,000 client. It doesn't matter if they're brand new or if they've been with us for 10 years. We need to make sure that they feel important, that they feel appreciated, and they are constantly on our radar. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest differentiators as people look at how technology is impacting their creative business.
So that was feel important, be appreciated, and know they're on the radar. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
joining us today. And until next time, make it rain.